What wedding moment made you think, they are not going to last long? Texas Tiger 70, as a wedding photographer I have been to more than my share of weddings. It was a real shotgun wedding. Dad didn't realize it would not stand up in court. Only time the groom was more excited to have photos than the bride. She wanted a limo, he thought a hearse would be better and kept doing lurch impressions. From the Addams family. Her friends took turns motorboating her, females, and he said, "Get it out of your system as after tonight you never get to do that again." Was a good sign also when she dove into the pool with her bridesmaids at the reception, in her wedding dress. Don't know what happened. Sat down with bride and groom, filling out the contract. Got the deposit. He stood up, said forget it, and walked out. 2 months later I get told the wedding is off. 3 months later she calls to rebook, different groom. Day of the wedding I am at the church. Got the final payment the week before. No one shows. No one, just me and the DJ. Design goddess, not the couple getting married but the best man and maid of honor who were married to each other. Best man's speech was all about how hard it was to be married. I've been married for a year and it feels like 100 years. Maid of honor stands up to give a speech and just says, ditto. It was so awkward and really brought the whole room down. Brother of the bride stood up and gave a nice impromptu speech about teamwork and having a partner to go through life with. How happy the family was to have the groom join their family. Best man and maid of honor were divorced within a year. Couple who got married are still married 30 plus years later. I sometimes wonder if the speeches actually were helpful in how not to act as a couple. For me, the complex backstory. Bride's brother is gay and has been in a long-term relationship for 40 plus years. At the time he gave his speech about marriage he couldn't marry the man he loved and I think his passionate defense of marriage was born from that. When people would say they were against gay marriage because it makes a mockery of marriage I'd think of that night. The married couple who had no respect for marriage could easily marry, and did over and over again, and the man who stood up and defended marriage could not. He's married now and lovingly takes care of his husband as he battles health issues. Dracareem 411 source, my wedding. We'll start 3 days before. The wedding was a Ren Fair-style wedding outside at a large gazebo and the maid of honor had promised to purchase a stylized dress for my bride that they had agreed on. 3 days before the wedding she calls to tell us she had no money and was embarrassed to admit it, so we literally hand-sewed ONT together in 24 hours. It turned out pretty nice for what we had. Bride's mother was supposed to pick up the cake in ATX and drive an hour south for the wedding. She left her house 30 minutes before the wedding to pick it up. When she finally showed up, hour late, the cake was destroyed. She put it in the back seat and drove like hell all the way down, just slamming it against box with every turn. During the 1-hour delay, there was almost a fist fight between two groomsmen because, well, the Mo showed up, in the dress that she was unable to afford. Obvious attempt to upstage the bride. The same Mo during her speech after the ceremony started it by saying, when we all met, I did not like Dracareem 411 at all, however I found that he grows on you, like a fungus. Needless to say my entire side of the family was super cold to all of this. Since all of these issues were on her side of friendships or families, I was told to suck it up and we'll discuss later. I sort of assumed that a lot of these friends had just shown themselves the door. Quite the opposite. In fact, 2 years later when I accepted my first well-paying job out of college, it became an issue that it was an hour and a half out of Austin, so she decided to just stay in ATX to be with her friends. I mailed her the divorce papers and since she couldn't be bothered to even show up to the hearing, I've never seen her again. Bird Ed, she told me 2 days before that she found her fiancé annoying and that she didn't like him and that he was awful in bed. She was visibly, endlessly uncomfortable at the rehearsal wedding/dinner combo. Then she sobbed the entire morning, day of. She ended up not getting any makeup done cause she wouldn't stop scream-sobbing and refused to get dressed, stalling the wedding 35 minutes. She then said 45 minutes of vows that she had prepared, 9 pages of things like inappropriate vows to friends and family, his parents and sisters, none of them her husband, and then almost didn't say I do. Managed to get a, yeah, okay, yeah I do, out of her almost a full 60 seconds after she was supposed to say anything. I could go on for hours, but it was the most painful and awkward wedding I've ever been to. I've got my money on 10 months. We're 1 month in. Edit, 2.5-month update, I've distanced myself from them completely. She is really clingy and likes to gossip about how awful her husband is, and I really don't have the time. She's also told me they're in couples therapy after I expressed negativity towards some extremely concerning things she said regarding their relationship and lack of communication. But I'm still betting on 10 months because she believes it's all his fault and truly believes his parents and sisters are exactly the same. Newsflash, they're all lovely people. Edit number 2, 5-month update, I no longer associate with them, so I'm out of the loop regarding juicy details. Last I heard they keep moving all over the country and fight nonstop. No more lovey-dovey images on social media. Seems to be right on track for a 10-month breakup. Irrelevant_username 3, one of my good friends got married and I'd never met her before the wedding because she's just shy. On the wedding day, she was belligerently drunk before the ceremony even started and couldn't even get through the lines she was supposed to repeat, i.e., I promise to love you. She ended up slapping the groom, spilling champagne on her dress, and then crying under a table while he tried to comfort her. They lasted about 4 months. Another one was my wife's friend. She's a very conservative, religious white girl who married a black man. Most of her racist family didn't approve of the marriage and didn't show up. But she planned the whole marriage around race. Like a vanilla cake for her and a chocolate cake for him, the wedding colors were black and white, and even the meals were white meat for her side and dark meat for his. It was extremely uncomfortable as a guest. They lasted 2 years, but broke up because he was abusive and almost killed her, rather than the weird racial tension. Also the bagel, not at the wedding itself, but I used to work at a David's bridal. Bride came in with tons of friends, we did the say yes to the dress thing, and an hour later she'd standing there in $3,000 worth of stuff and doesn't have any money with her or in her account. She decides she wants to apply for the store credit card, I run it through the system, and she gets denied. She then calls the groom for his info, which, to be fair, people did all the time, and he tells her no. She threw a huge fit on the phone with him, standing on the bridal stage, literally demanding, why not? Why? Why, like an actual child over and over again. I've never seen a 30-year-old age backwards so quickly. She was just a brat. Literally stomping her feet in front of me, all her friends, and the other bride in the store. I was embarrassed. At the end of all of that, she hangs up on him and her friend is like, I'm so sorry you can't get your dress, and the bride stops crying instantly and just goes, oh, I'll get the dress. I just have to do this at home, and when he gets mad enough he'll come get it for me, so I'll stop. Speechless. Sure enough. Girl came back 2 days later with her man and he applied for the credit card and bought the dress. He was livid and silent, and she was smug as hell. Can't imagine they're having a happy marriage if they are still together. Wandering rain dog, I'm witnessing one from the sidelines now. My wife's brother just got married this past May. Bride's mother is a big DIY person and went a little nuts with extra flowers, table pieces, decorations, etc. Note I said extra, it was already decorated by the venue, she just took it upon herself to buy and add way more stuff. Anyway, a few weeks ago she sends my groom's mom, an email with receipts of all the extra stuff she bought, $7,000 worth, and asked that she pay half since it was technically set up in time for the rehearsal dinner for guests to enjoy. It's causing a huge rift between the newlyweds since the bride is taking her mom's side. Sharple's Corner, my wife got invited to a client's daughter's wedding. The couple were both drama students. Many of the bridal party were drama students. The maid of honor's toast consisted of tearful declarations of unrequited love to the groom, along the lines of, if it couldn't be me, I'm glad it's my best friend that's marrying you. The best man's speech was a lusty declaration of, if it doesn't work out, call me, babe, like the previous time you called me. Other toasts were similarly weird. A guy at the table I was seated at was a friend of the bride and said to me that he was this close to standing up during the speak now or forever hold your peace thing. I'm still not sure if the whole thing was a bunch of emotionally fucked up 20-year-olds or one big piece of performance art. Crocken_of_Beverlyard, I was maid of honor. Me, best man, and the couple went into a separate little room to do the signing stuff. Bride excused herself to go to the bathroom and the groom started making pretty mean remarks about her cooking, she's passionate about, to the officiary. She came back, heard they were talking about cooking family meals together and gave him the warmest smile, thinking he had praised her. He scoffed awkwardly and changed the topic. That always stuck with me. He wasn't laughing with her but at her, behind her back. They lasted 7 months. Mendoza 327, my cousin got married probably a decade ago, and during the wedding it came out that groom was not the best to my cousin while dating. The bride's brother did not take this well, and during the after-party a shouting match became a brawl between the two families. Next thing you know, the police show up and literally pepper spray everyone, including my grandma, kids, and anyone near the area. I don't remember if anyone got arrested, but the story got on CBS, the early show for the international news. LOL, they did not last long, to say the least.